Welcome back to DA Wrestling Podcast. It's our weekly Dynamite review. Andrew, what's going on, man?
It's going on well, man. It's the Christmas holidays.
Yeah,
Everybody seems to be having a great Christmas and all this stuff. I think everybody seemed to have a good one, actually. I shouldn't say it was perfect by any means, but it was as good as it can be. At least on my end, it was. Hopefully, the same for you. Uh,
I
Dynamite
mean,
today. Okay,
with
go ahead.
all that shit, yeah, with all this shitty rain we've gotten. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, I'm waiting for I'm waiting for something to happen. Uh, Foggy as hell the past couple of days. But anyway, Dynamite today. It was a go home show, Dynamite.
Hmm?
Interesting Dynamite. We had a reveal, and we had a return of the Sammy Guevara came back today here on AEW
He came
Dynamite.
he came back from parental leave.
Yes, he did.
He had his baby a couple weeks ago.
Yes, he seemed to be. Oh, it'd be interesting to see it's interesting. We'll get to what happened there. It involved our friend Don Callis, so it'll be interesting to see how people react to that because, well, there's definitely a face turn involved.
Cool.
But anyway,
So
so Dynamite
I
started
guess
off tonight.
guess right off the top, I guess
Yeah.
Guevara joining the Don Callis family was for completely nothing.
Well, it was he. So we'll get to the first match of the card, but we'll start off with the Don Callis. So Don Callis came out with this Don Callis family. He talked about how it's Boxing Week. He wants to celebrate Boxing Week in Canada, so he's doing it in Orlando because it took place in Orlando today. And he starts revealing pictures for everybody. Right? He shows, "Oh, this is me and you. Takesha, this is me and you." They're all, and this is me and you. With the Aussie opening dude, can't remember his name is right now.
Kyle Fletcher.
Fletcher, right? And each picture has like a really buffed up looking of Don Callis, like he's some kind of Zeus.
Hmm.
And then out of nowhere, Sammy Guevara comes out, and he does not look happy at all to see Don Callis or anybody. He comes back, and he basically just shits on him, saying, "Well, why didn't you give me any phone calls? Why the hell? Where were you?" And back and forth it goes. Eventually, they attack Sammy Guevara, and out of the blue, Chris Jericho comes out to save his friend Sammy Guevara. And they embrace in the ring. And then Big Bill comes down and they attack him with what the heck's his name?
Ricky
Ricky
Starks.
Starks. They attack him. And then Sting comes back. Everything goes black, and Sting and Darby are there out of nowhere. It was a very confusing segment, but we did get to see who's probably going to be Chris Jericho's partner at World's End for those tag titles. They will be Sammy Guevara, the Sex Gods.
It's actually, I just looked this up
Or has it
before we started
changed?
recording. Yeah, it's changed. It's now an 8-man tag team match.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be on one side, it's going to be Hobbs and Fletcher and Starks and Big Bill against the team of Sting, Darby, Sammy, and Jericho.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't. I don't. You know what?
Okay, so
Yeah.
what was the first match on the card?
So the first match of the card was a banger. It was Moxley, Swerve,
And
and
Jay
Jay
White.
White in a triple threat match with Moxley coming out on top.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'd be remiss to say that I thought Moxley was going to win this. I thought we both thought I think it was be Swerve that win it because we don't think that Moxley really needed this at all. But it will lead to something later on during the rest of the show. So
It made sense when I found out who won the other match.
yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, it made sense after we won a match. Like when we first predicted who was going to win this match, we thought it would be Swerve for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But once you see later on the show what happened on the show, then yeah, it makes a lot more sense as to why.
Okay.
So, what do you think? What are your thoughts on that triple threat match? I mean, it's three guys who can go.
I'd have to go back and watch it, but I mean, yeah, you're not gonna miss with talent the level of those three guys.
Yeah, and two of those guys are on our top 10 list, which will be premiering on
New Year's Day.
New Year's Day. So take a look at that and see where those guys land. So, but it was a good it was good. Then the Don Callis came out, but we already reviewed that. Uh, Brian Danielson versus Eddie Kingston. in the second match of the Continental Classic in the semifinals. Um, I want to say it was a bit of a shocker, but maybe it wasn't. With Eddie
I'd call it an
Kingston,
upset.
yeah, Eddie Kingston beating Daniel Bryanson for Bryan Danielson. It's sometimes hard to confuse those guys. My apologies. It's very sometimes difficult, but yeah, Kingston coming over on Bryan Danielson. Didn't
So
see that one really coming.
yeah, so actually, full disclosure, we are in between record like this is being recorded after our top 10 list.
Yes.
Um, so as I was outside smoking a cigarette, I actually watched the promo between Moxley and Kingston, and
Yes.
this is probably gonna steal the show.
It's hard not to say it won't.
I think this will be the match of the show.
Yeah. Well, it's a good possibility. I mean, those guys are good. They know each other very well. They're going to be having a banger for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie goes over.
No,
I don't think I don't see Eddie not going. I mean, I can see Eddie not going over for sure, but I could definitely not be.
anytime there's a big match, you can always bet that Eddie Kingston's not going to win. But I think in this case, he's already lost twice to John Moxley,
Yeah.
even though it was a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Eddie Kingston's a better, like, he's evolved a lot better or a lot more since those matches during the pandemic.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely a more versatile wrestler than he was when he first came into AEW for sure. He's definitely grown a lot as a performer, and I mean his mic skills are probably you could argue probably some of the best in the business for sure. You
He
can argue
he
it.
is one of the better talkers in the
Oh,
game.
absolutely, and he makes you feel like I remember
Yeah.
when he came out at Forbidden Door. I mean, you went insane for it. Like you were so
Yes.
happy to see Eddie Kingston. Like it was
Yes.
I think now I personally think he's got some of the like. I'm not the biggest hip hop guy in the world, but he's got a really good entrance. It's definitely reminiscent of DMX. I know he's a huge DMX fan, so
That's all
um,
Mikey. That's all Mikey Ruckus, man. Like
yeah,
that dude is so good.
yeah,
With
like
what um yeah, that dude is so good with the music that he brings out for these guys
yeah,
and
uh,
girls.
like Eddie's is really like a banger. Like it's really good. If you ever
Mm-hmm.
listen to it, check it out on YouTube. It's really good. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe onto the YouTube channel, guys, and onto follow us on Twitter and follow us on all over the place. But don't forget to like, share, subscribe, folks. It's important to us. It helps us out a lot. It helps us bring out more talent and more productivity and give you guys more as best we can. And it drives us to do better for you guys.
Not that I have much more talent to offer.
Well, I think we all do. We all have more time. So Sky Blue versus Statlander was another match on the card. It wasn't interesting. It kind of built a little bit towards the World's End card match, but we'll get to that later on. Wasn't that much there. Sky Blue attacked Chris Statlander. Julia Hart helped her and knocked her out. Returning of the Willow Nightingale came back out and kind of helped out Chris Statlander in that case. Wasn't really much really talking about that match. I mean, it's probably one of the more down matches I think on the card.
Okay.
But it wasn't really a big thing. So the big match of the night really was the MJF and Samoa Joe versus the Devils or Devils Henchmen. So the match started out with the Devils Henchmen coming out to no music whatsoever. Almost gave like a little bit of reveal to who maybe they are, but it's kind of hard still to tell. And then MJF came out. Samoa Joe's music came in. Samoa Joe
No
was
Samoa
already
Joe.
no Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was apparently attacked in the back and complaining about his knee, and they got hit in the knee. They said, "Don't start the match," but MJF insisted on going on a match on his own, and he was doing pretty decent for a little bit. But unfortunately, the numbers game got ahead of him. A guy came up from behind him while they're on the floor. The referee distracted, hit MJF, attacked him, threw him back in the ring, and he got I think it was called Fireball. I think it was the move
He
that
got
move.
hit with the Heat Seeker,
That's it. Heat seek.
which is MJF's own finishing move, which is that like pile driver he does in the middle rope.
Yeah. So he hit him with that, and 1, 2, 3, MJF goes down, and new champions are crowned. After the match was over, though, that's when it got really interesting. Samoa Joe came, music back hit. He came running down, hobbling with a chair. And then all of a sudden, they chase away the bad guys, and they're both in the ring. MJF standing in front, Joe's in the back, and the devil pops up on the screen, says nothing, and also goes cuts to a small sentence that says, "Pleasure doing business with you." And all of a sudden, it was very reminiscent of the Seth Rollins turn on the Shield, and Samoa Joe just smacked MJF right in the back, just laid him out, and Joe's knee was perfectly fine. And that's when Joe revealed that he was helping in cahoots with the devil to take away these tag titles from them and hurt MGF going to this main event match at World's End.
Hmm.
So kind of interesting. I don't think I don't think Joe is the devil at all,
No,
but it's very interesting though. I'm interested to see what happens
but
at World's End.
it makes your Adam Cole theory a bit stronger, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah,
Joe and Cole have known each other for years.
yeah, absolutely. They were in a Ring of Honor together.
Not only,
No, no, no.
no, Joe was in TNA by the time Cole
Okay.
broke in.
Hmm. They
Joe
were
was
in NXT together for a little bit.
They were in NXT. That's what I'm alluding to. Now, if this to me, I feel like this is gonna end up being, the more I think about it, the more it makes the most sense for this to be Adam Cole, especially that MJF has now lost the Ring of Honor tag team title.
Yeah,
I think that um, this whole undisputed era reboot with the Kingdom or Kingdom 2.0, whatever.
yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I think that it can, I think it's very plausible at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know you were mentioning to me before we started recording the first bit,
yeah. I mean,
that it looked a lot like Taven and Bennett in the ring
yes, yeah,
tonight.
it did. I mean, I've been saying it for a while. That was cool. If you want to take a look, if you don't believe me, we have a short on YouTube where I basically admit that I think it's Adam Cole, undisputed era. Take a look at the short. I think it's a very good clip.
But it's funny because that's from like a month and a half ago, and we're
Longer
still
than
talking
that.
about it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I still think it's. I mean, there's been ups and downs about who this guy is. Some people are. I've been saying Cole. Some people have argued that it is Wardlow. Some people have argued that it might be Swerve now.
Wardlow
Uh,
might make sense actually,
Wardlow might make sense. Swerve
because
kind of
him
makes
and Joe,
sense.
but him and Joe are, you know,
Yeah, well, they used to be buddies. They turned each other. They had a pretty decent feud a couple of years ago. So, uh, wasn't
okay.
bad. So, it'll be interesting to see what
So
goes on with that. But
so like a thumbs in the middle.
yeah, it was kind of just like it was almost like a throwaway show. It wasn't. I mean, we got who the finalists are going to be in the Continental Classic for the card at World's End. Uh, we basically got.
I have the card in front of me. Do you want to do productions?
Yeah, let's work on the business. But that was basically the diary review, folks. Wasn't much really going on.